If you're wanting to grow your fashion brand, get more visibility, and ultimately get more sales, PR or public relations is definitely something that's worth considering. When people come to me about marketing, they often automatically talk about Instagram or social media marketing, and very few actually consider being featured by the press and other publications. So in this video, I want to explain what it is and why it's good to do for your fashion brand. If you're new around here, hi, I'm Vicky from the Fashion Business Coach, and this is one of my weekly videos in which I help your fashion brand to launch and scale successfully. So this week we're talking about fashion marketing, and most of the time people come to me for this, they ask about social media marketing, and I do have a ton of other videos on this topic, but I wanted to focus on PR because to me it feels relatively untapped for new brands or small brands, and it has amazing potential. Not only can it really create a brand presence, that people can find your brand that have never seen you before, but it also brings with it an amazing amount of trust. So if people see, maybe they're on your website looking at the product, if they see that you've been featured by a certain publication or blogger or influencer or whatever it is, it can really help to build trust with the customer. And that's super important, because one of the biggest reasons that people don't check out, they don't shop with a new brand, is because they don't trust them. So anything you can do, PR being one of them, to build that trust can really help you to ultimately make more sales. The good thing about PR as well is it can be completely free. I know a lot of people are worried about trying it because they think they're going to have to pay a PR agency this hefty retainer, and they do charge so much money. But the good thing is you can do it yourself. You don't have to hire somebody else. And there's a lot of different ways to be featured. So what are these options for getting featured? Well, there's actually quite a few. So the first one is that you might be a guest contributor. That means that you might contribute an article or a story of some kind to a publication, and you'll be credited for it, and there'll be a link back to your site. You might be interviewed as a brand owner or maybe a change maker if you're working on something like sustainability or inclusion or anything like that. And obviously you can also have your products featured. So that might be in an editorial where your products are photographed with products from other brands, or it might be one of those kind of curated collections where there's not usually a model or any background in the image, it's just a picture of your product, and that'll fall under a particular category. So many blogs and magazines in particular, they have like this monthly or weekly segment where they'll pick a theme and then they'll just curate a selection of products within that theme. So it might be like Christmas gifts under £50, or activewear styles, or bright orange styles, or whatever it might be. So there's 4 ways that you can get featured, and all of these have opportunities to be featured for free. You don't have to pay the retainers on these PR agencies, and you don't have to pay to actually be featured either. There's a ton of ways that you can do this without having to pay. So there's also lots of different places in which you can get featured. So it could be a blog or on an influencer's social media account. It could be on a magazine, on a news article, in the newspaper, or on the TV. There's so many different ways. So you might be wondering, well, how do I even do this? And the good news is, again, it's actually very straightforward. The main thing you're going to need is persistence. And I'll be honest with you, most of the PR that I've had in my career over the last 10 years, I've got by myself completely for free. It's only in the last year or so that I've had some help on board, simply because time has become an issue for me, and that is the one drawback of this. It is going to take some time. It's not like a quick fix type situation. You are going to have to be persistent. If you're willing to put in the time though, there's definitely big rewards that you can get from it. And even when I was working on my brand by myself, I had features in things like the Vogue Diaries, so their online website. I had features in Look magazine, which was amazing at the time, but it doesn't actually exist anymore, which is kind of sad, and featured in all kinds of blogs on influencer sites and so on. More recently, as the fashion business coach, as opposed to being featured as my own brand, I was able to collaborate with the Female Hustlers, who have like 3 million followers, which is incredible. And not only does that mean that I get visibility on their platform, but it also meant that I could actually physically collaborate on a product with them. I'm going to be making a video about that experience next week, and I'll pop some of the details below for you. So that was all free publicity that I got by doing it myself. The main tip that I can give you when you're pitching is to not talk about yourself, which I know sounds a bit counterintuitive when you're pitching to be featured as yourself. What I mean though is think about what the person receiving that email is going to be looking for. And chances are, a lot of the time, these people are getting hundreds of emails a day, just like I am, and they have to pick the ones that are most interesting to them or most urgent. So you need to have some kind of urgency or something that's super interested to be the one that they choose to open and reply to. So make sure that you're writing your email from the perspective of actually being helpful in some way, and talk to them about the benefits that whatever you're proposing is going to have for them and their audience. Fundamentally, we want to make their life easier by basically handing them a story or a feature on a silver platter. So I'd be quite specific with what you want as well. So the best way to do it is to go onto the website or read the magazine or whatever publication you're pitching to, and look out for particular themes. What regular features do they have? Do they do interviews with people, and so on? And in your email, write what you want to be featured as. So say you want to be interviewed. You can say that you noticed that they had this interview segment, pick up on something that they did recently to show that you've read and understood what they're actually doing, and explain what you can actually give their audience. So what are you going to give their audience an insight on? What's going to make somebody want to click onto the interview with you and read it? And if you can give that editor that's making the decision something that is going to get clicks, or something that's going to get traffic, that's something that's going to get talked about, that's instantly something that they're going to consider. Versus just writing a pitch that's like, hey, look at my brand, I'm amazing. You know, you don't want it to be really centered about you. You want to be talking about what you can offer that publication in terms of a really great story that they're going to want to run. So I hope that's given you a few ideas to get started. If you do want more help in this area, this is something that I work with clients on and help them to craft their pitch, figure out what their angle is, and identify places that they could have a better shot with getting featured on. So if that's something that you'd like help with, I'll put my contact details below this video and you can get in touch and let me know what you're needing, and we can chat and see if we're a good fit for each other. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope to see some of you soon. Bye for now.